Hi everyone, I'm Ferd and welcome to my video. I'm rebuilding a Kohler Command 2-cylinder 20 horsepower engine. The information in this video is much the same with most engines out there, no matter the brand. I'm going to cover installing new rings, installing the pistons, conditioning, and installing the crankshaft. I'll leave links in the description below to another video where I complete the build of this engine from where I leave off in this video. Let's complete the most important part of rebuilding an engine and enjoy the video. I used 2 hones on this block. This is a 4-inch hone and the grit on this is about 220. I use this mainly because it's a pretty deep cylinder, it's steel, and I wanted to make sure that I knocked off that carbon bridge that's around the top of the cylinder. After I was satisfied with that, I went with my smaller 3-inch hone, went back over it. This is a little bit finer to knock some of them aggressive scratches out of it and smooth it out. I need to work on this crankshaft. When I zoom in on it, you can see that there's a scratch right here. And this scratch is in the crankshaft. It's not aluminum from the rod. A piece of metal has been pumped up through the crank's journal and came up through this hole. Got under the connecting rod and it scratched the crankshaft and the connecting rod. I have to sand it smooth to where it's not going to cause any more damage. I'm going to use some 500 grit wet and dry sandpaper. If you go to my channel, you'll find a couple of videos there that I go into a little more detail about reconditioning these crankshafts than what I'm going to show you here. I've got some oil on here. I'm going to wrap this rope around it about 3 times and I'm going to lightly sand it for about a minute or so. Pull it off and check it. Afterwards, I'll go to 800, then 1200. Something I want to note about this crankshaft are about those 2 holes you see on the top. The oil pumps oil up through the other side of the crankshaft over here in this hole, then flows through a channel inside the crank and up between the crankshaft journal and the connecting rods. After sanding and with some brake clean, you want to make sure that you clean that journal out the best that you can. I'll guarantee you there's some metal hiding up in there waiting to come out and get back up under the connecting rod. Let's see what we got. This looks fairly decent. I still see quite a bit on this side of it. I'll turn it around, put the paper back on it, and sand it one more time. I'll get back with you when I get all that worked out of it. Okay, here we go. Got it all cleaned up. Scratch is pretty much gone. Looks like there may be a little burn mark around there, but nothing there that's going to cause any more damage. Finish this thing up with some 1200 and some motor oil. Need to use some brake clean this thing off real good. There's still a little bit of black on here and we want to get all that off of it. Get her oiled back up so it doesn't rust and we're ready to move on. I took care of the scratch on the crankshaft and I want to clean up the scratch on the connecting rod. I put the rod cap back on, snugged it down, and with a piece of 800 grit sandpaper, I very lightly sanded around it. Came back with some 1200 grit to smooth out the 800 grit scratches. Be careful when doing this. You don't want to try to sand the scratch completely away. Just want to make sure there's no metal on it and that it's smooth all the way across. The ring grooves on the pistons need to be cleaned out thoroughly. This can be done easily by breaking one of your old rings in half and using that to scrape out the inside of the grooves. This is what they look like after I was finished cleaning them. The pistons and crankshaft are cleaned up and ready to go. I got new rings for both sides, and the next thing to do is to fit those rings into the cylinders. These aren't OEM and they're not pre-gapped. Sometimes the OEM rings are. If you go to my video, What Ring Size Do I Use?, it has a lot of information in it about figuring out the bore size, size of the gap, and a lot more information than I can give you here. There's a link to that video in the description of this video below. But anywho, this is a 3-inch bore. The formula I use is 3 inches times 4 thousandths, and that equals a 12 thousandths inch gap. Here I barely have a 12 thousandths gap, so I need to file a tiny bit off. That all gets explained in that video. This is a page from the actual Kohler command service manual. This is your best reference to identifying and positioning each ring. The top ring may come rectangular. This is nothing to panic about. The one in my kit is rectangular. It can be stalled either way, up or down. Concentrate on the inside shape of its location. Some may have identifying marks like a dot. The dot will always face towards the top of the piston. Or they could have a painted stripe on the side. If it is the stripe is always installed to the right side of the gap, looking down on the piston. I'm ready to install the rings. I've marked the pistons 1 and 2, and earlier I gapped the rings in the cylinders and numbered the boxes to make sure that I would use the right rings on the right piston. Our scraper ring has the little angle on the inside of it. We'll put that one on first. Be very careful, these will break. Our top ring is a rectangular. Doesn't matter which way is up or down. Get her on there. And we're ready for the oil ring. Do this from the bottom. This has to go in first. Some oil on there. There's 2 of these, one on the top, one on the bottom. These will bend very easy, so be careful. And we're going to work this thing around the top. If you get it on the bottom, it's going to be difficult to get the other ring over top of it to get it on the top. So I've started like this. It's up here. Just going to work it around. I got my thumb on that. I don't want that to get up there yet. Around the other side. And that one's in. Check it, make sure the center ring didn't pop out anywhere. Put this one in. And you should be able to just push this one straight down on there. Just like that. Our rings are installed. Our block's been thoroughly cleaned inside and out, and this is very important that you get that clean when you're rebuilding any engine. I've got it honed, and I'm ready to put the pistons and the crankshaft back in it. First thing I'm going to do is put a new seal. This is rubber coated, so I'll put a little oil on my finger. I'm going to just try to push it in there. Sometimes you can do that. This one's going to need a little help. I found this piece of plumbing pipe that fits over that nicely, so put that on there and we're going to tap that thing down in there. Now you don't want to go down too far because there's actually an oiling hole there. It may be a drain or it may supply oil to it. And if you bottom it out, it's going to cover that hole. And it should look like that, right at the bottom of that groove. Okay, we're ready to put our crankshaft in, and I want to lube that up. Get some around the seal. Well, I got her sitting here. We'll put a little lube on here and on these front journals, and right there where that seal's going to go. Go over here and we'll just slide her in here, and be careful you don't flip that seal on the other side. Okay, I'm going to start with the piston number 1 because that's the one closest to the other side. Over here. If I put these two pistons beside each other, they're going to be like that down inside of there. There's your markings on this side, on that side. There's nothing to indicate where this goes, and this can fit either way. But you want to make sure that this goes back on there correctly. But anyway, our piston, if you look up, and it is really hard to find, but right there you can see that arrow. It's a little triangle pointing that way. That's going to always point towards the flywheel. Here's our number 1 piston. This is the one we're putting in first. The little triangle is right there. It's going towards the flywheel. And your first 2 rings, your compression and your scraper, you always want them facing towards the flywheel at 2 o'clock in the 10 o'clock position. The other rings down here on the oil ring, I've just kind of spread those apart from each other down here. Okay, on this side, my arrow is going to be at the bottom, but it's pointing that way. This is my flywheel side, and 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock is going to be up this way. Get her down here. Oil ring that way. Looks good. There we go. Now, if you remember, the markings on these caps faced into each other like that. So I need my number 1. That's my number 2. And here's my number 1. It's back there. So this one is going to face this way on the engine. Just like that. Got it lubed up. Push her up on there. Got some oil on the bolts. It's one of the side notes on the instructions. I'm going to run these up there, and then I'm going to torque it down at 200 inch-pounds. I'm going to snug it down with this little socket wrench. All right, there's my marking for this one. That's my number 2. Got my bolts oiled up. You should be able to run these all the way up there with your fingers. If you're having trouble, then it's probably not lined up. I'm just going to give them a little turn with this little wrench. I'm going to do them in increments. I've got my torque wrench set at 150 inch-pounds. Got this one down where I want to torque it. I'm at 150. Got that one. turn it a little bit more so I can get to the other two. And there, we're there. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some good information out of it. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button on the way out to support and join my channel. I got a lot of videos up there and I got a lot more coming. Ring that notification bell and you'll get notified as soon as I put them up there. Remember to stay safe in the shop and have fun. Thank you for watching.